Thanks for choosing us. Well, this afternoon, President John Dramani Mahama's administration is confronting one of its most testing moments in the 15 months since taking office. Within a single week, it has been hit by a triple wave of economic pressure. Fuel prices are rising, sachet water prices have already gone up, and transport fares are now expected to follow. Well, sachet water consumers are already feeling the squeeze after the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers implemented an upward price adjustment effective Monday, April 6. Well, the association cites soaring production costs driven by a global shortage of polymers and escalating prices linked to the ongoing conflict in Iran. The new prices are as follows. Well, they tell us that now the price of a bag of water, sachet water, previously that would go for 8 cedi, is now going up. According to them, it will now be sold for as much as 10 to even 15 Ghana cedis per bag, depending on where you're buying from. And so that's coming up on your screens right now. The ex-factory price of a bag of water was 8 Ghana cedis. At the truck price, 10 Ghana cedis, and maximum retail price, 15 Ghana cedis per bag of the 500 milliliters of 30 sachet waters. Now, they're telling us that these are the new pricing you should expect when you are going to buy water. Well, we know that our population depends largely on sachet water, and so we're looking at the impacts today and how you may be bracing up for this, especially because we heard from GPRTU tell us that they have given government a 2-day ultimatum. That ultimatum ends today. They're threatening to increase prices. We spoke to them earlier today. They tell us that indeed we should expect that prices of transport fares would go up, but even before that happens, we're already hearing from sachet water producers tell us that now the maximum retail price for a bag of sachet water would be 15 Ghana cedis. And so we're expecting that the GPRTU will be confirming what exactly their next line of action will be after that meeting today. But we are hearing that they actually convened to decide whether or not there would be increase in fares. And as you're already aware, fuel prices have gone up. And so the big question we asked this afternoon are really what impact are these increases likely to have on the ordinary consumer? And most importantly, what options are government maybe making available at this point in time to mitigate the economic strain on households? Well, join me this afternoon is President of the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers, Magnus Nunu. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. I also have joined the conversation the Deputy PRO of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Samuel Amwa. We're also joined by an economist, and I will be introducing him shortly. But I'd like to start with the water producers, sachet water producers, and just get a sense of why exactly they're deciding to increase fares. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Mr. Nunu, what exactly is influencing this decision?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and to your listeners. I think it's all about the materials that we use. I mean, our packaging materials price really skyrocketed lately, and they are attributing it to the crisis in the Middle East. What it is that there is an apparent shortage of polymers used to produce plastic in the country. Most of the major producers have very, very low stocks, and the ships are not coming. Besides that, they all announced that the freight per ton of polymers immediately went up about $500 per ton. You know, I wish we had GPMA, that's Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association, on this conversation, on this panel. Then they could speak more to it, but then suddenly they announced the 20% hike in the price of the packaging materials that we use, and that is really, really a big jump up for our cost, and so we have to pass that on. And that is, and kind of like I said, stocks are pretty very, very low, and I was off the line with the president to ask him how bad it was, and I was telling him it's really, really bad. If we don't get the ships coming in, then it could tend to be something different for those of us who are producing water, i.e. sachet or bottle.
So there are external shocks and internally as well. You tell us that the plastic producers, they increase the cost of the items you use and rely largely on by some 20%. When exactly did it make this increment?
Well, the oil prices went up 1st of April from their end.
But most people would argue that if it went up 1st of April, just within 6 days, you're telling us you're pushing that to us, the consumers, knowing fully well that the price of the cedi has been relatively stable. And so for some of you, you've actually been on the end where you've been making a lot of profit. Why not shoulder this costs for at least some few months before pushing it down to us, the consumers?
Madam, I don't know, but then we are a manufacturing setup, and for a manufacturing company, of any sort, 20% is quite huge. In the manufacturing sector, I think the rule of thumb used by even the tax officers, and then institutions if you are not even keeping proper books, I think the rule of thumb, and even for investors, about 15%. So they assume a 15% profit. On your operations, and then they could use that if you are not even having correct books. So for a major input like the packaging material to hit 20%, and mind you, packaging material for our product is about 80% of our cost, and that is massive actually. I mean, if you joke with it, it can bring you down. And so, this is not the first time. They've actually gone up previously, but marginally, so we absorbed that. And mind you, the last time we actually came on air to recommend the price adjustment was about 4 years ago. And so we've been adjusting in the managing until it got into this point where this is quite material and we cannot just absorb it, we need to pass it on.
But the concern now is about the retail pricing. We know our retail space is not regulated, and so the concern now is just the percentage increment. If plastics have gone up by 20%, why not increase the price by 20%? But from 10 to 15 cedis, that's about 50% increment.
No, it's not 10 cedis. I don't know where you've been buying your water, but then from the retail shops, most of them go around 12 cedis. Of course, a few were around 10, depending on the brand you're buying, but you have to buy a trusted brand. I don't think you get it in it cheaper than 12 cedis. So, and mind you, what we mentioned in the statement was a cap. I mean, we are asking our members recommended at the maximum. So it means that you can even get it slightly cheaper depending on where you're buying it. If you're buying a bag of sachet water around East Legon, obviously the price will be slightly much higher, and that is where we expect the 15 cedis to go. But around places like La Paz, this by no means demeaning La Paz, but then where we have, depending on which area you're talking about, where the cost of living or the standard of living is not that high, then you could get it between the 12 and then 15, but high end where you even pay high shops and co, then we would expect that. We are even telling them, we said, please try and remain within $15. Otherwise, you have people quoting 18 and thereabouts. So these are recommended prices by the association just to calm our marketing space.
I see. But then you also cited the external shocks. Is it the case that should the impact of the war die down, the prices would be reduced?
Yes. I mean, once the impact goes down, we reverse. I mean, we live in Ghana here, and it has happened before. I mean, we're not really going to go very far. Inflation was as high as 57%. It dropped all the way to 3%. It means that Ghanaians were sensitive to price adjustment, even in the industrial and the manufacturing sector. Once the price dips, situations normalize, and I pray that it does. From where I sit, and then with years in business. I believe that even if the world stops today, it might take a while for things to normalize. But we all pray that things come down. Once things normalize, and mind you, we live and operate in a highly competitive environment, especially for the product that we have. So forces of demand and supply would naturally bring the price down, just like it did for fuel. Fuel dropped from about 16 Ghana cedis per liter all the way to 10. It is now that, and mind you, even there is a levy on it, otherwise we would have been buying fuel at even 9 cedis. Right now, the unrest has brought it up again, but we have this swing, demand, supply, interplay will definitely kick in when situations normalize, and definitely will also come down.
I see. Stay with me, because the other concerns coming up, especially how much one sachet will now be selling for. Concerns have been raised that usually when you buy a bag, you make 100% profit, especially for the retailers. And so now that prices are going up, could they consider reducing their pricing as well, just to cushion the impact on consumers? We'll come back to you for your response on that. But join me now is Samuel Alma of GPRTU. I understand that you were in a meeting. Have you reached a decision yet on whether or not to increase transport fares?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon to you and your viewers. Yes, the leadership met, and decision is to meet the transport ministries to table our issues. But unfortunately, on our side, because of this Easter festive, we were told that most of the ministers have gone to visit their constituencies, and that we were not able to, have the minister to engage in a conversation in respect with our transport fares issues. So the agreement we had with the minister, he has given us, coming Tuesday, that hopefully tomorrow is holiday, Monday is also holiday. By Tuesday, you engage us for us to sit down to talk about the way forward. So as I'm speaking to you now, we have not gotten to any conclusion as to whether there is going to be an increment or not, or if there is going to be an increment, the percentage that we use. So we are asking our drivers, to just exercise a little patience. For us to meet the minister hopefully on Tuesday before a decision will be taken.
Some argue that indeed you already know what you want, because the outcome of this meeting, I'm sure at the leadership level, you know how much you want to increase prices by. But the argument really is that when the fuel went down, we're begging you to reduce the price of transport fares. You pushed the blame on the spare part dealers. And now you just want to push the immediate impact of the increase in fuel on us, the consumers. Why not at least, because of you've enjoyed some of the gains for the past few months, hold on and cushion consumers at least?
Let me explain that. We don't increase transport fares anytime fuel goes up. We have a percentage threshold that we normally look at. When it hits the 10% threshold and above, that is when we also talk about, adjustment of transport fares. It's the same way that last 2 years, April, when the fuel was reduced to 18%, we were called and we had an agreement that we should reduce, our transport fares by 15%. Even at that time, we look only into the fuel product. We didn't even consider the spare part, because by then, who were complaining that the spare parts were still the same. There has never been any reduction on spare parts. But then they gave us a promise that, we should go ahead and do our reduction, and that they are going to speak with them for them to also reduce, of which they didn't do that. Yes, we understand that by then, when we had that reduction of 15%, the fuel price was around 12, the diesel was around 12 cedis, 90 something pesos thereabout. Then we had that reduction, all right? Then after it came down to 99 pesos, that is the petrol. Then that is when our committee started, talking about reducing our transport fares. We came up to explain to them that we had a certain percentage that when it hits that percentage before we can also, do our calculation. And by then, when it hits that 94% thereabouts, when our calculation didn't give us, a tangible, percentage to also reduce our transport rate. That is why we didn't do that. Now, it came back to, 14 cities thereabout. That is the last, the middle price window. When it got to that point, we were even supposed to, come up with an increment. But we didn't do that because we know very well that this thing that is coming up is because of the war between Iran, America, and Israel. And that we decided to hold on. And we have held on till this time. And now diesel is being sold over 17 cities and petrol over 15 cities. We have exceeded even over 20% increment. That is why we are also pushing for an increment of transport fares. If there has never been any intervention, we understand or we heard that government is trying to work it out to see if some taxes can be scrapped so that fuel price will come down. But all that we are waiting for is to see a reduction at the pump. If nothing like that is being done, then it means that we also have to work it out to make sure that our drivers will also enjoy some percentage of increment.
So is it the case that if government fulfills its promise of trying to see if indeed they can reduce some of the taxes and reduce the pricing at the pump, we should not expect that you'll be pushing through with your proposal for price increment?
It will depend on how much reduction that will come, because as I'm speaking to you now, as I stated earlier, diesel is around 17 cities and petrol is around 15 cities thereabout. It will depend on how many taxes government will suspend and how much it will reflect on the pump before we can also take a decision.
It appears you have decided that prices will go up, but what you're yet to decide on is the percentage increase.
I'm not getting you. It's like the line, where...
Can you hear me now?
Can you come up again?
I'm saying it appears GPRTU, you have already decided that prices would indeed go up, but what you're yet to decide on is the percentage increase. Mr. Amwa, can you hear me? Oh dear, we seem to have lost Mr. Amwa. Whilst we work the line to just get back Samuel Amwa of GPRTU, I still have with me the Sachet water producers, the manufacturers on the line. Mr. Nunu, I was just wondering before I went to GPRTU, so at this point in time, how much will a sachet water be sold for? If I'm buying at the traffic lights, usually, or even buying from shops, how much would it be sold to me?
Sachet water at room temperature. Those who sell in the shops or retail sachet water by the roadside, our customers, they buy from us, and they buy at room temperature, and then they add value to it, and they determine the price at which they are going to retail. I think for now, and we have very little control over what they do, and of course, they take their source from us. They have an association as well. They have not come up with anything yet, but we are gonna. We hope that, as is being announced, this war ends, and then probably there will not be the need for them to move up. But for now, I don't have any indications. There are no signals that they want to go up yet. We're waiting to hear from them as well.
I see. But then clearly they'll pass on the increase to us, the consumers. And so we're just wondering, how much do we expect when we're going to buy a sachet water? How much is it? 1 cedi now, 80 pesos? How much exactly?
No, the question is from then. I know the dilemma, what they're going through now as an association. Sometimes if they are locked up, and then it becomes very difficult. Then you contact us, we also then knock our heads together. For now, I mean, from 50%, where do you go? 1 cedi? If you go with 60%, you're not going to get change. So change is an issue. Like wherever you land, assuming you even at 20 pesos, 2.8. It's so difficult to get change anything that is not 50 or 1 cedi. And like I said, I'm praying very, very hard that this war ends and then there will not be the need for them to jump up. Because if they usually, like I said, there is always a problem of having a change if you have to go up. Rightly, like we've gone up, we expect them to move up. If they even have to go up by the percentage we have, which is 20%, then they're going to go towards 60%. But if you go 60% or 70%, getting that change is an issue. So I think that aspect is still hanging. But like I said, we haven't had any signals yet that we want to go up. And so we'll keep it at that for now.
And I'm quite concerned because some retailers are already rejecting the 20 pesos and 10 pesos. So how do you plan to balance this, even though you tell us that you have little control? Because I'm concerned about the impact.
No, you see, that is a real issue. Maybe probably if you have to do a documentary on that, it's a big issue for us as well. You'll be surprised that even most of our guys come to us with coins. And we send it to the bank, they don't take. They will tell you to take it to Bank of Ghana. But it's a legal tender. You know, if I got coin 1 million to you, you have to take it. But they don't take it. And it's a big issue which must be looked into. Once the legal tender and the Bank of Ghana has sanctioned it as such, I do not see why commercial banks are not accepting coins. And that is still a dilemma for us. And that will come to play and decide that they should increase it by 10%. Also, of course, it will be much easier to say, okay, let's jump from 50% to 1 cedi. But I think we are not there yet. That's my point.
Stay with me. Let me bring in Professor Pepra. He's an economist. Within just 1 week, we're seeing multiple price pressures. What are the immediate implications for us as a country?
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to my fellow panelists. So immediately what comes to my mind and what we are going to see is if these individual industries decide to go ahead with increases in their prices, especially petroleum moving up, transport fares going up, Sachet water industry increasing their prices, we may see that the CPI index or the inflation index will move up. What it means is that it's going to probably, let me use the Ghanaian term, eat into the income of the Ghanaian, which is good, put some financial burden on the Ghanaian. So this will be the major impact that we must all look at. As we're having the discussion, if I may to suggest, no one knows when this war between US, Israel, and Iran going to end. Even if it ends in 3 weeks as being talked by Donald Trump, the ripple effect is going to linger on for a while. We have almost 2 more months to media. We recommend to the Minister of Finance to be thinking of a supplementary budget, because when your fuel is really hit, it's going to affect revenue generation and also cost of living in the country. So if they are not thinking of supplementary budgets to relook at a review of government plans to reduce some major capex item, this is the time for the government to do that. And also, it's also an opportunity for government to look at the fuel pricing schedule, not just look at probably, as people have been recommending, the removal of the what they call the energy sector recovery levy, or the D levy as the opposition calls it. The entire energy pricing model needs to be looked at. There are some of the levies that we may have to ask ourselves whether they are relevant now, and those that we must do away with them to bring relief to the citizens. We must have to consider that. But I know as we take out some levies, it requires that government will be having a shortfall in revenue, and this must also be looked at. So I'm proposing a general review of the energy pricing model, and also a supplementary budget to Parliament in June or in early July to address any shortfall that may come out with the revenue. We must remember that our inflation rate has been going down for 15 months. We are now 3.2. Indeed, we are far below our set target of 8% plus or minus 2%. So if even these increases come to play, and then we are able to see roughly about 3% increase in inflation, it's not too bad for us as a country. Our target is to be minimum 6%. That will still be within a government threshold. This is something that we must all look at, and I'm sure those are the Ministry of Finance and this team, Bank of Ghana. Everyone is looking at how this will really affect the entire economy. We know that if inflation goes up, cost will go up, and we must understand that, we are still within a certain band, and it's not too serious for us as a country. What we must prevent is to prevent shortage of raw materials, and support a little bit the increase in prices for raw materials, so that we will not have shortage in the country. In the shortage also, government must also be thinking of how to support the manufacturing industries where they can source for alternatives if they are not going to get it from the Middle East, where they will be able to get the raw materials coming in. I know government has some, I've read that we got some oil coming from other areas not within the Middle East. Can that be sustained so that we will not see shortage of fuel and raw materials within the country?
Okay, you're proposing that government creates a supplementary budget at least, but can we even afford that, seeing that we've scrapped major revenue streams like the e-levy, COVID-19 levy, and there are even talks to see if we can scrap that 1 cedi levy we imposed on prices at the pumps. Is it realistic?
This is very realistic because we know the government has what they call the capital expenditure line, especially the big push item. If that is where, and I know what the finance minister says he's doing, he's saving money to pay contractors. Can we look at those capital expenditure line items to defer some of them in 2026 to make room for these expenditure that will be coming in? Very soon, you'll be hearing Labour also coming to ask for more because inflation will be moving up. So how you be able to mitigate these measures is to probably slow down some major capital items and then also ensure compliance in terms of revenue collection. And that is the reason why I'm asking for a supplementary budget. In that supplementary budget, I foresee, and then if it's happened, that government will cut down on some of the big push projects they intend to do because of what is currently happening. We know we cannot we have a lot of interest payments which we cannot default. So if we cannot default on interest payment, we cannot reduce emoluments. The only two items we can reduce: goods and services and capital expenditure items. So that's why I'm proposing that we have this supplementary budgets and to be able to look at some of the capital items, the road construction ongoing, a lot of things that we want to do because this is going to have an impact on revenue generation. If we really want our businesses to survive during this period, that is what we need to do.
Thank you so much, Prof. Let me wrap up with GPRTU. I have clear connection to Samuel Amwan now. So do I get the sense that indeed prices will go up? But what you're uncertain about and the reason why you're looking forward to meet the minister, the transport minister, is to decide on the percentage. Is that the case? Do I have Mr. Amwa? Okay, while we work the lines to get clear connection to him, let me wrap up with Mr. Nunu. Mr. Nunu, you tell me that you have very little control of the space. And so as we wrap up the conversation, should the prices start seeing a downward trend, especially after we see an end to the Iran-Israel war, how do you plan to ensure that you implement a reduction in sachet water?
You know, we operate in a highly competitive environment. So in such environment, the forces of demand and supply come to play. And so naturally, once your inputs start dipping, obviously the force will be to bring down the price. The price naturally will come up. I don't think anybody want to stay out there and lose volume. And so naturally, that's how it is. Like I said, drawing example from the fuel, I mean, we used to be around where we are currently, but then when the situation demanded, it dropped even way to 10. And I think similarly, when it comes to our product and like all other manufactured products, right, we respond to market forces, and that definitely would drive the price down naturally.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nunu, for your time here on The Pulse. Do I have clear connection to Mr. Samuel Amoah? Mr. Amoah, I'm hoping you can hear me now. I'm saying that I get a sense that you're certain that prices will go up. What you're uncertain about is a percentage increment. Is that the case?
Yeah, that is the case. There has never been any, intervention. So we are still, hoping that maybe government can do something by, as they stated that maybe they can work some things out to, suspend some of the taxes. If nothing like that is being done, then it means that still we are going to push for an increment of transport fares, of which we don't just wake up and do that. We have a process that we go through. We will meet the transport ministry, table our issues, the proposed percentage. We will negotiate then at the close of the day, whatever agreement that will come up, we will communicate to our members.
Okay, thank you so much. Samuel Amoah is Deputy PRO of GPRTU. Thank you so much. Away from that, let's take you to Kumasi now, where chaos broke out between traders and members of the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly Task Force, tasked to drive out unauthorized traders at the KGTM market. Attempts by city authorities to decongest the facility, which has become a subject of discussion among traders and city authorities, were met with resistance from traders. The Federation of Kumasi Traders had described the overcrowding, which has seen an excess of 3,300 more traders at the facility, and structural defects at what used to be a plush market center as a debt trap. While city authorities, in response to calls to maintain sanity, are carrying out a decongestion exercise. My colleague Emmanuel Bradquego witnessed the chaotic scenes at the market and filed this report. Just before we hear that report, he joins me live on the phone right now with more. Bright, how chaotic was the situation, and why are traders even defying KMA's eviction orders?
All right, so firstly, in fact, I had gone to the market to look at the situation there because the Kumasi City Mayor, that's Richard Dofori Ajimanbwedi, had told us yesterday that they were going to continue with their decongestion exercise. In fact, it's an exercise they have done over the course of time, following the fire incident that happened some years ago. And so some 2 weeks ago, we had the city mayor himself go to the community, or go to the market to actually inquire about or sack some people from the market. That's those who sell these inflammables. So this was a continuation of the exercise. In fact, today when I went, I had met the security task force from the Kumasi City Limited Management, and so they were continuing with their exercise. When I got there, and that's when I saw them sacking some of the women, and they had actually resisted. They were saying that they had nowhere to go. And in fact, some of them, if you listen to them, they allege that they have paid some amount of money to some authorities within the market to actually occupy these spaces. So it was a bit of a tussle between them, but the task force was able to manage and then clear some of them of the area. They even told a majority of them that had lined up at that section of the market to vacate the premises, or they would have their materials or their goods vandalized. And so that's the situation that happened when I went there earlier today in the morning, Fosti.
And what the city authorities say?
Well, the city authority, in fact, this is in connection with a press conference the traders held on Tuesday, where they said the city is actually, or the market is actually a death trap, and they are calling on the authorities to actually decongest, because they are saying that they are having some excesses. Over 3,000 traders occupying unauthorized spaces within the market, and so they were expecting the management to actually act out of their political decisions to do things that would actually safeguard the building, because of the facility, because a document we are privy to indicates that the structure is actually not in good shape. It's in critical and unsafe condition. That's according to a report from some of the contractors. And so they were expecting that the management would actually act on the report and then begin to sack some of these people who are occupying the illegal or unauthorized spaces in the markets. That is putting a lot of pressure on the market. In fact, I actually toured some portions of the markets, and I can say that you would realize that some portions of the facility are detaching from the base of the market. So if you go there, you realize that there are some structural defects here and there. So they are actually, the traders, the leadership of the traders are actually hoping that the management of the Kumasi City, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, or even the Kumasi City Market Limited would actually act on the report and then ensure that all of these illegal occupants at the markets are being vacated. So that's the latest from the KGT markets, Fosti.
Thank you so much, Bright. Well, thankfully, I have the Kumasi Mayor himself, Ofori Ajiman-Boadu. I appreciate your time here on The Pulse. This issue is actually brewing in your community as we speak. I'm sure your attention has been drawn to it. What really are the concerns of the traders?
Let me say good afternoon to you and your listeners. My name is Ofori Ajiman-Boadu, not Boadu. My name is Boadu. Ofori Ajiman-Boadu. My attention has been drawn to a press conference which was carried on a lot of their platforms, talking about some issues that we have already started working on.
You have to position rightly for us to hear you. We seem to be losing you.
Hello? Is
now
it okay
we can
now?
hear you loud and clear. Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm saying that my attention was drawn to a press conference which was done by one of the unions in KJT. There are about 11 unions in KJT. It's just one of them who did their press conference talking about issues that he have already attended the number that your reporter said that even for the press conference, 2 weeks in the press conference, we have started taking people off the facility. And in fact, if you go to the KJT market, I'm sure I have an obstacle in the market. Whatever I have doing everything to decongest the facility, just so we're able to keep things safe, intact, and much more sustainable for the group of business development in the Kumasi Metropolitan. Let me say with emphasis that the structure, as at now, is in good state. Its integrity is intact. It has issues to do with maintenance, some of which we have started working on, some of which we would need to finish phase 2 and get people off, evacuate them, and relocate them to phase 2 before we'll be able to pull off some structures and then be able to refix it. Because we all are aware of the fact that in 2023, there was a major fire incident that occurred at KJT, and it has affected about 20% of the facility. Now that area we need to take a comprehensive approach to deal with it and refix it. We have engaged the contractor They have given us an indication of an estimate, and there's a plan. We want to finish with phase 2, and once we are done with that, we will relocate those who are beneath where the place compares, and then we can demolish the whole area and refix it to link up to phase 2 to make sure that it is safe for everybody. Now, I have a report. Victoria, the report, I give a copy to it. I have a report for the contractor that gives me, it comes to a picture, gives me an indication of areas that ought not to have trading activities, which currently is having those activities. And so, since I became mayor, I've been taking steps to get them off, and we'll keep working on them to set a time that we feel that everybody and every facility is safe.
And so those areas are where you're trying to decongest. Is that the case?
Absolutely.
And so looking at the resistance you're facing from traders, how do you plan to manage this moving forward?
Okay, so let me say that I have not sent the KMA task force to the facility this morning. It is security personnel that are in the facility, which is managed and regulated at KCM by the KGT City Market Limited Management, who have taken instructions from me to make sure that areas that do not have to get trading activity do not have to, and there's no way illegal occupants can overpower it. It is not going to happen.
And so we should expect that you'll still be on the grounds until they are all out of that place?
You see, it's not going to be a day's activity. These are human beings. These are Ghanaians that we do. And so there are some areas where we have to adopt some human face to some of the things, because these are compatriots. We have to, deal with the situation in such a manner that we don't maltreat our citizens and let them feel like they are not Ghanaians. We'll do it in such a manner that we will get the results that we want, whilst we are able to treat our compatriots as human beings.
Well, some traders lament that the market leadership sat aloof and watched some of these individuals come to the market, and some of them were actually paying charges to use the space. So what happens to them now?
I have a problem with that thing. And today I did indicate on one of the radio stations that when I came, the narrative I have had is that previously in the last regime, there was a transformer that got compromised in KJT. At the time, they didn't have money to fix it per the estimate that the ECD gave them. And so the leadership themselves started with the management and allowed hawkers to come onto the market for them to do some charges, which they used to fix. And indeed, it's been fixed. It's been proven to me that it's been fixed. So sometimes I keep telling them that you don't generate a problem and then I come to work on it and you make it look like it is average. There's something that you called for. So we'll deal with it in such a manner, but don't act as we are the ones who are problem.
I see. Thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. We've just been speaking to the Kumasi Mayor just to get updates on that exercise, the congestion exercise happening at KJT. Away from that, the government of Burkina Faso has lifted its recent ban on tomato exports to Ghana, providing temporary relief to traders and consumers amid fears of a looming shortage. The ban, which lasted just over 2 weeks, had threatened to disrupt the supply chain for one of Ghana's most consumed vegetables, once again exposing the country's inability to meet its domestic tomato demand. Following high-level engagements between the two countries, Burkina Faso has now agreed and announced that exports will resume, allowing Ghanaian markets to stabilize in the short term. However, the development has reignited concerns about Ghana's long-standing struggle with tomato shelf life and also self-sufficiency, with stakeholders warning that the country remains vulnerable to external shocks whenever supplies from neighboring countries are interrupted. Well, on your screens now is that statement, just highlighting the new agreement. And that's from the Ministry of Trade and Agribusiness, just highlighting the new agreement they have with Burkina Faso, and letting us know that indeed government has taken note of the decision by the government of Burkina Faso to lift the suspension on the issuance of special export authorization for fresh tomatoes. The decision, communicated through a joint communique issued by the relevant Burkinabe authorities, follows improvements in the supply situation to local processing units and firm commitments by stakeholders to ensure adequate availability of tomatoes for domestic industrial use. Government welcomes this development, the statement says, which is expected to ease the flow of fresh tomatoes into Ghana and contribute to stabilizing supply on the local market. The next two paragraphs says the Ministry of Trade and Agribusiness and Industry, in collaboration with other relevant state institutions, will continue its engagement with Burkinabe counterparts and key stakeholders to ensure a smooth and mutual beneficial trading environment between the two countries. Well, let's explore this further. Join me now this afternoon is the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Footbridge. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. First of all, how does government view the lifting of the ban?
Good afternoon, Fosti.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon to your listeners. Well, it's relieving because it is right learning that Ghana does not produce tomato all year round. And so, at the time we don't have fresh tomato in Ghana, we rely on what to make up for the difference. And so when the ban came, all of a sudden, it came as a surprise to Ghana, and it was going to be very inconvenient because we've been trading with Burkina Faso for a long time. They also rely on us for certain things. And so what we did was to calm the nerves. On the sidelines of WTO, my team and I engaged our counterparts, and they agreed that they will work on it as soon as possible so that we could continue our trade in tomatoes. But I have to add quickly that the government of Excellency John Dramani Mahama is conscious of this effort and making sure that Ghana moves self-sufficiency relative to tomato production. And so, together with the Ministry of Agriculture, irrigation projects are starting so that we can do tomato species. If it happens like that, then we may not to import tomatoes from Burkina Faso. So yes, in the short term, we know that you cannot plant tomatoes today and harvest it today. So short term, we need Burkina Faso to allow us to import tomatoes. And then medium term, Ghana will produce its own tomatoes all year round. We know how to produce tomatoes. The only thing is that agriculture has been wasted for long. And so to solve this problem, government is embarking on extensive irrigation projects, and we hope that that will go a long way into solving the problem.
And then how do you plan to ensure you produce all year round, looking at climate change and the impact of the weather?
Say that again.
How do you plan to ensure you produce tomato all year round, especially when you look at climate change and the impact of the weather?
Okay, so the only challenge that prohibits us from producing tomato all year round is just rain or water. And so if we are planting tomato under irrigation, the weather is good enough. All you need is water. Once you have water, you can produce tomato all year round. And so I am happy that the government is investing in irrigation this year and the years ahead to make sure that we can do it all year round. The weather is okay, just the water that we need.
And so currently, is that going to be rolled out this year?
You have to speak up a little bit. The line is not very
okay,
clear.
I'm hoping you can hear me now. I'm saying this all year round production that you're proposing, is that something you're going to start this year?
Oh, I'm missing some of your words, Sophie.
Oh dear. Let's try and reconnect the lines and see if we can raise Elizabeth Footbridge again because she's struggling to hear me. And I'm hoping it's better now. Elizabeth, is it better now?
Now I can hear what you said.
Great. I'm saying that looking at what you're proposing, producing tomato all year round, is it something that we're starting this year?
Yes, it's something that we are starting this year because the irrigation is starting this year. As soon as the irrigation is there, after farmers, they are ready to produce. And so this year, when we are done with the irrigation, planting will start.
And another challenge is that even though we produce locally, we do not produce enough to meet the needs of our Ghanaian consumers. And so will you be scaling up at least so that we do not rely so much on importation?
Certainly.
And by what percentage?
Well, I will not be able to tell you the percentage of scaling, But what I can say is that whatever we have right now, if you are able to do the kind of irrigation that the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is doing, we will actually scale up. Because you see, we are also interested in commercial contract farming and irrigation, and it's not done by government alone. We have private sector also going into irrigation and going into tomato production, like GB Foods is going into large-scale commercial tomato farming. We are, as I indicated in the press statement, we are also encouraging other tomato producers to also go into farming, backwards integration. They are importing concentrates. We are looking forward to seeing them also producing fresh tomatoes here to feed their industry and also to support the local market. So what government is doing is not the only thing that we are relying on. Private sector is also participating.
And how do you plan to support farmers to encourage them to be part of this drive?
You know, irrigation is expensive. And so the high-end tomato producers, they are able to do the irrigation. But what government is doing is what the farmers are looking for. So long as we provide the irrigation, as for farmers, as member of parliament for people of Techman North, Silverdom, where we produce a lot of tomatoes, I know the hard-working farmers are available. All they are waiting for is irrigation. They will just plug in.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your time here on The Pulse. We appreciate your time. Well, we also have Nana Wadie joining the conversation as well. Just to speak your thoughts now. We're just hearing from government. They've been able to reach an agreement with Burkina Faso. And so now the ban would not apply to us. Your thoughts?
Yes, hello?
Nana, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'd like to start with your initial reaction. We now know that the ban has been lifted on tomatoes, and so we can rely on Burkina Faso for our inputs.
Good evening to your viewers. I'm so surprised that Burkina Faso ban, and so surprised because I was thinking that they shouldn't even lift the ban. It is time for we to reason to know that Ghana is an agricultural country which we need to focus and then be so serious on whatever that we are doing. But it seems we are just playing lip services. We are not doing what is right. At the end of the day, when this issue happened, the first point of call is to call on the abuse, to sit them down and then tell them that, listen, now there's a ban on this tomato that is coming into our country. So what are you going to do? All that we need from the government is good seeds and fertilizers for the farmers to do it. We have this irrigation all over. The tunnel irrigation is there. When you go to a place like Togome, there's a canal there. Foreigners have invaded it. They've taken over from the local people. So the whole thing is, they are deceiving the president. They are lying to the president. The real players on the ground that they are supposed to do the job are not getting the space to do it. They are not getting the space to do it. Let us ask the ministry, are they dealing with individual farmers, or they are dealing with better groups that at the end of the day, they will come out with a proper tomatoes like the way the Burkina Faso has come out with. When you go to Burkina Faso, they don't deal with individual farmers, they deal with groups. And they respect their farmers very well. But when you come to Ghana, things are turned upside down. They are just playing lip services, which is not going to help us. The minister is being deceived. Enrico Poku has been deceived. The job of the technocrat that they are there, they are the people that they are deceiving the minister, and at the same time, they are deceiving Ghanaians and farmers as a whole. Because at the end of the day, the ministry cannot run a program on themselves. It is the job for the NGOs to do it. I heard you talking to this, the transport, the GPL people. The same thing that we have the Ghana National Association, the farmers, the fishermen. They are supposed to handle this issue. This is a peanut thing that we can handle it. When you go to Budwata, Rojo Farm, the biggest vegetable farms across the country, they can produce enough tomatoes. But let us ask ourselves, are we ready for all this? Is the ministry ready? Or the ministry are running the program on themselves? Are they the farmers themselves? Or we are the farmers that we are supposed to do it?
We're hearing from the trade ministry tell us that there are plans that are far advanced to ensure that we're producing tomato year-round. Is it the case that you are not even aware of this initiative?
Come again.
We're just hearing from the trade ministry tell us that plans are far advanced to ensure that we're producing tomato year-round. Is it the case that you're not aware of this initiative?
No, we are not aware of this initiative. Anything that they will be doing so far as farmers are concerned, we the SBOs are not part of it. I don't know the kind of groups that they deal with them. But at the end of the day, there's a local dialect that in Krovesi, it will go and then it will come to the same point. All because we are not dealing with the right people. Because one, this is a peanut. Ghanaian farmers are ready to produce. All that we need is good seed. Just give them the good seed. We are sitting on water. Those that are on this desert are being able to produce this quality tomatoes for you to enjoy. And you are here, you can't even produce it. And recently, the plans are people going to play football. Look at the amount of money that we spent on them. And common irrigation has become a problem. Past $12 million, we had that was being allocated for this Lugu Dam, and then somebody just misused it. Anyhow, so we are not serious as far as that is concerned. We will continue to be begging for all these kind of things which we are not supposed to do. We are farmers and we will continue to feed our nation. But at the end of the day, we want to tell the president that he's being deceived. All because the ministry is also deceiving the minister. All because the right channel that they are supposed to pass, they are not passing there.
And what would you recommend moving forward, apart from dialoguing with you, the farmers, directly?
Well, the only thing that we have to do is to get with a good seed. All that we need is a good seed for which to start planting. And we can plant, we can even plant a lot. Burkina Faso will soon come to Ghana for tomatoes. I'm telling you, mark my words today. Because when we talk about good farmers and quality farmers and the well-trained farmers, I think Ghana, we are the best and we are the one leading. But at the end of the day, it is the leadership point of view that is making me like that. So all that we need today, the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Kopoku, you are doing well. What we need from you, don't listen to the ministry, listen to with the views. What we need from you is a good seed and fertilizer just to get to the ground to work. That is all.
And when do you propose we get...
before we do our farming. There are river bodies all over the country. The tunnel irrigation is there. The whatever is there. The black water and the white water are there. We can do it. We can produce enough tomatoes to feed the whole country. Rojo farms at Budwata is there. We can do it. So they shouldn't be giving us lip service that the irrigation, this and that. No, that kind of things we've had it for so many years. I mean, we are not children.
And where do you propose we source these good seeds from?
Well, the good seeds, they know it. we have good, how do you call it, agronomists in this country. Honorable Dr. Abu Sakara. They should contact Honorable Abu Sakara. When we contact Honorable Abu Sakara, this is a thing that we have a big-time agronomists in this country that we are not using them, we are just wasting them. You see, and this is just a small thing that we can do. So what we need now, it is a good seed, and they know where we can get the good seed. They shouldn't give us a bill of $1 billion and other things. We know it, because at the end, they are going to make an account for it. All that we need is a good seed and a good fertilizer for the farmers to do their job. That's all. That's the places the farmers don't need the fertilizer. That's places the farmers need the fertilizer. That is all. I went to Petenta, that is the Bono area. There are tomato-growing people around that place. They can also help. So all that we need is the seed and the good education to do it. That is all. It is something simple.
Thank you so much, Anna Wadia, for your time here on The Pulse. You're still watching The Pulse. Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this quick turn. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. With less than 6 months to go before the NPP National Delegates Conference, where new national executives will be elected to steer the party for the next 4 years, the race for key position is already intensifying. Party stalwarts have begun declaring their intentions, signaling a heated contest for the top offices. As is often the case in internal party elections, accusations and counter-accusations are emerging. Critics allege that the current leadership has failed to expand the party's grassroots appeal, with calls growing louder for a new generation of leaders if the NPP is to reclaim power in the year 2028. Well, what exactly are the perceived shortcomings of the current leadership and how do they respond to these critics? Additionally, we're going to be finding out this afternoon on The Pulse, how are the party registration drives and membership mobilization progressing steadily ahead of the Congress? Well, to provide insight, we're joined in the studio by the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. It's always a pleasure to have him sitting next to me. Usually he will do Zoom and we'll fight, but this time we're in the studio so we can fight in person. How are you doing, though?
Oh, I'm fine, Fosti.
Oh, great. A lot has been happening. Let's start with the registration of members. I know you started that as far back as March. What's the progress report so far? How many people have you registered onto the platform?
Yes, thank you very much. I take this opportunity to say good afternoon to your cherished viewership and the entire team for multimedia and JoyNews specifically. It has been a long break for me. During the fasting period, I stopped doing media because of the sacred nature of my activities in terms of the fasting activities. We are back. The party at the National Council level opened nominations for, put out a guideline for the elections that is going to take place in terms of electing new leaders. And as part of those particular processes, we open up for people to go and register as members at the polling station, as it is enshrined in the party's constitution. So in the line of the party's constitution, membership is derived from the polling station. So we ask each and every member to go to the polling station to register yourself. And again, we provided an online registration portal for those who may not be able to get to their polling stations. So the space of 1st March to 31st March was meant for the polling station meetings. But the online registration, as we said, is still ongoing. So before we'll be able to give you accurate data of members who have been able to register, we have a time period from 1st of April to the 10th of April, where we have the data entry team who will be entering the data from the books into the data of the party. So as they enter the data into the party, and at the end of 10th of April, we'll be able to aggregate and get to know the number of persons who have actually been registered for the party. But based on our analysis or our reports on hard copy, people have registered more than 1 million people have registered, but we're projecting to see close to more than 3 million in terms of the registration. So we're waiting to get the data being entered into the system. Then we'll be able to pull the data, and the General Secretary will make the opportunity to address the media with regards to the number of persons who have registered on our party database. So for now, we may not be able to tell you because of the data entry starting yesterday, and we hope to get the entire data when it is finished, because this was done on a hard copy. Those who have registered online, some of them have also gone to register in the book because they want to provide themselves the opportunity to vote and be voted for at the polling station.
I see. And I know that this month, April as well, even when you do the verification, you also have another elections, the polling station committee. Yes.
We actually made a design in such a way that the polling station elections will happen after we have been able to compile the entire register for the polling stations. So the entry of this data will lead to the extraction of the polling station album. That means that these will be the members who can contest and the members who can also vote at the polling station level. So when that is done, by 23rd of May to 25th of May, we'll open and close the nominations for the elections at the polling station level. So the polling station elections will be opened, and when it opens, then people will pick their nominations at the polling station. So opening of nomination for the polling station specific will be 20th of May to 24th of May at the polling station level. And the elections will be conducted specifically on the 10th to the 16th of May. That is where the polling station elections will be conducted. Then for the electoral area elections, nominations will be open on 23rd to 25th of May. And the elections itself will be conducted on the 10th to 15th of June. So these are the timelines that we have. Then the constituency elections, two nominations will be picked from 22nd to 24th of June 2026, and the elections itself will be conducted on the 11th to the 12th of July 2026.
That's for the constituency executive committee.
For the constituency
and the
executive
regional steering committee.
Yes.
Okay.
So the regional one will be done together with the chapter and external. So the external people too will also be conducting elections. And the timeline for the external is 20th June to 19th of July 2026. And that of the branches will also be done on the 15th July to the 9th of August 2026. And the regional one will be done 15th to the 17th. Nomination will be open on the 15th to the 17th of July 2026. And the elections will be conducted on the 8th to the 9th of August 2026. That is the regional elections. For the national elections, nominations will open on the 10th to 14th of August 2026, and elections will be done on the 18th to 20th September 2026.
And I'm looking forward to the national elections because I want to find out, will you still be, at the same position supporting your leader?
Yes. For my position is not an elected position.
Indeed, it is appointed.
My position is an appointed position. And I will solidly stay behind my boss, lawyer Justin Kodia Frimpong, to be able to continue and shepherd the party through the difficult period that we are for Victory 2028.
And he's still vying for the same position?
Yes, he is.
I see.
He's vying for the same position. We've heard about many people who are coming out to contest, and we have heard a lot of stories that are coming up. And as administrators of the party, I don't know if we get opportunity, there are some administrative issues that you need to set the record very straight for people to appreciate. For us as MPP and for us from lawyer Justin Kodua Frimpong, we believe in competition because it was through competition we came, and we must stay on competition. And that is why we believe that competition must be very clear and people must be very focused on what they want to do. When we talk about political maturity embodies a lot of things, and it doesn't rely on age, and it doesn't sometimes also rely on experience, but how you are able to hold on to shocks, how you are able to handle matters when it confronts you.
And a lot of concerns have come up, and I have just been going through social media even before this interview, and I can see that Dr. China has been making some comments. He says that he will not be an armchair general secretary, alleging that the current general secretary is an armchair general secretary.
Well, I heard it. I heard it. I listened to him. First and foremost, the lawyer Justin Kodua Frimpong is the most visited general secretary. The general secretary who has gone out to campaign in 2024 during the limited registration. He has gone out, he had his timetable, he went to the regions and campaigned. 5 northern regions, I followed him throughout the 5 northern regions during campaign. And at some point in time, we closed at 4 p.m. If indeed Dr. China is making this statement, firstly, to interest you to know that he's the first national treasurer not to organize for funds for campaign. First ever, the party has been created. So if you have not been able to mobilize funds to support the 2024 campaign, then you are an armchair treasurer. So
but he's also raising some key concerns. He says that the general secretary should not lead with buga tactic and noise. He should lead with strategies.
And that is why the general secretary
is that the case?
That's why the general secretary has been living with, because he has always come with strategy. He has always come with a number of things. When we came to office, we organized the presidential primaries, a very successful presidential primaries. We changed the dynamics of how the presidential primaries is being organized. The albums that were made available to us, we went and validated the albums. And all the presidential candidates were very happy with the process. In the second one, for the 2026 one, this one, we did the same thing. It was very successful. We came up with a MPP mobile app that has provided a dues platform for him. I've heard him say that he has improved on dues payment. We developed the dues platform. In fact, the Deputy Director of IT, under the instructions of the General Secretary, developed the dues payment platform. And the dues payment platform has been used to even register members for our party, which has brought in a lot of revenue. He has not brought in any strategy. He hasn't raised any fund. If you get the 2024 flag bearer, he will tell you. He is one of those who have not.
He granted us an interview. He said he changed the face of the party when it comes to collection of funds. And this is a general secretary aspirant. And he says that he's the man for the job. So is it the case that you feel threatened? Is JFK threatened by him? Because like a child Dramina, a lot of people know him.
Firstly, that was the same noise he made as treasurer. And he came, he could not provide anything. As treasurer, that dues he's talking about is being engineered by the General Secretary. And I'm telling you on authority that the Deputy Director IT, Forsen, that's his name, not the finance minister. He developed the platform on the instructions of the general secretary. Apart from that particular one, we have brought in a lot of changes. We have made the structures to work, very effectively. There are questions that you will be asking him, but which he will not be able to respond. Firstly, he also made some particular statement that I want this to be corrected. He talked about a finance committee approving an insurance policy. And that particular insurance policy, somebody blocked him so that this particular insurance policy could not come on. You see, the finance committee in our party does not approve things for us. They make recommendations to NEC or National Council for consideration. So if you sit with the finance committee to agree on a policy, and that particular policy is something that we have to work on, you brought it to the secretariat, of which I belong. The general secretary received it. When he received it, he set up a committee headed by Dr. Kingsley Ajiman, the MP for Ebuakwa South. And then other members include Honorable Abna Osei Asari, Ama Frimpoma, Honorable Nana Aje Bewa, and then Gary Nimakumafu. Any contract at all you have to send has to pass through the hands of the legal directorate. This particular committee submitted their recommendations. You brought a proposal for a group personal accident. And these people meeting and interrogating the matter under the auspices of the general secretary, who ought to make a decision, sent it to them. They came out with their recommendation and said that it is good for us to have a group life insurance policy instead of the group personal accident. And they gave the rationale behind that in terms of industry practice, in terms of the scope of coverage, in terms of the validity that we need to go through, in terms of survey that we have to cover to be able to get that. And if you check the membership of these particular people, Ajiman, if you look at him, his pedigree in terms of insurance policy, he has been a managing director for Unique Insurance Company Limited. He has been an insurance manager for Agric Development Bank. He has been underwriting manager at Downwell Insurance, and he has been a national service person at the National Insurance Commission. And he's a chartered insurance banker.
But a lot of things are happening inside the party. And then I know you would want to respond to all the concerns that has been raised, but then I'm sure this is the reason why you elected a flag bearer even before you went ahead to do your internal contest for other key positions. And so what role is he playing to ensure peace and stability in the party after his election?
The flag bearer has been having meetings, strategic meetings with members of the party and some senior members, including the elders of the party. And he has positioned himself in such a manner that he's able to carry the party along, because he's the face of the party now. He's the one that is going to be on the ballot, and as we range out policies to be able to get back to power, everything must evolve around the flag bearer. So there has been constant meetings. There has been small committees that have been set up. We're working through some little strategies and what have you. There are other policies that are before certain committees to work to ensure that the flag bearer is given the right opportunity to be able to market himself to the people of Ghana. But then, firstly, like I've mentioned, I've heard him also say that somebody, artificial blockage. Nobody blocks anybody to work. It's just that if you fail to work, you fail to work.
But these are genuine concerns.
They are not.
Let's put it in a broader sense.
They are not.
He has raised concerns about the competence of the current leadership, especially the General Secretary.
The General Secretary is the one holding the party now. The General Secretary is the one holding the party now.
What do you mean by that?
He's the one. Everything they say.
But there's the chairman of the party.
The chairman of the General Secretary is the CEO of the party. The chairman is an executive chairman. So the General Secretary reports to the chairman. Everything that happens now, everybody says General Secretary. That is why when he came, he's the only person. If you ask him, is he the only national executive officer? Everything, General Secretary. Because he's the blood of the party now. He does everything. The General Secretary today, Lawyer Justin Kodua Frimpong, cannot override the National Council or NEC. So if NEC stops something that you think would come, which is not feasible, you don't go after an individual. So the constitution of party is very clear. So if you want to contest as General Secretary, you must get a clear understanding of the structure and the party, the way it works. You don't go after one individual. But however it is, we are very confident that competition is what brings us, and competition is what is going to retain the General Secretary. So there has not been any policy that has come before and somebody has blocked it. A policy that came was not feasible. A group reported that we need to have a life insurance, not accident insurance, because a life insurance covers the accident itself and covers the dependent of every member. So the General Secretary cannot chain out an accident policy, knowing very well that a life policy should go. So when it came before the National Council said that, no, we ought to put a break on this and then study it further, because this committee report is at variance with what the
so it's also the case that you rejected it outright.
It's not the case. It's not the case. So, and if there was something that was to be done, he himself has gone ahead to make a payment on behalf of the party, even without the legal directorate even looking at it.
And so, for fairness sake, we'll get Dr. Charles Dram now just to respond to some of these concerns that you've raised, because this is quite topical on social media, and there's a lot of comments underneath it. And the concern really now is that it has put a spotlight on the office of the General Secretary and the competence of that office, especially in the light of the party's defeat in the just ended elections.
You see, the reason why the General Secretary has been put on the spotlight is that, you know, before we went to the elections, the National Chairman was not well. And everything that goes, he was the National Chairman, he's the General Secretary. And when you look at the structure of our party, we have the executive arm, we have the administrative arm, and we have the operational arm. The operational arm is headed by the national organizer. The secretariat is headed by the General Secretary, but the national organizer reports to the National Secretariat. So in effect, you have two, because of the executive arm and the administrative arm. So if the executive arm is not functioning effectively, then all the burden will be shifted to the administrative arm, which is the General Secretary. And every member of the party will understand that the General Secretary has been put on the spotlight because he's everywhere. He's visited most of the constituencies. His work is hard out. He's gone to all the areas. He has empowered his deputies to work on his behalf. And I can tell you, there is no executive that does not appreciate the work of the deputy secretaries. And it's because he has shown leadership. He has given the guidance. He has given the topical issues and given you the opportunity to learn and be able to lead. And that is why anytime you call me to come on this particular platform that embodies on administrative issues, I'm able to discharge my duty. I think that this is the first time you'll be seeing deputy general secretaries having most effective, like the way we are working.
But,
I know that the others have
concerns coming up. It shows us that there appears to be cracks within the party. If the treasurer cannot work with the general secretary, then obviously changes must be made.
The point is that if there will be changes, if an ineffective treasurer cannot work with an effective general secretary, the treasurer must go. That is how it is. Because you have been treasurer, you haven't raised funds. The whole of 2024, there's no funds that has been raised for the presidential primaries. Ask the presidential candidate then, who is now the presidential candidate. The treasurer effectively did nothing.
But we'll have to get him to respond to that, so we'll leave that hanging. And when next we have Dr. Charles, I will be posing that question to him. But let's look at the work of the flag bearer. I'm sure that one of the reasons why you decided to elect a flag bearer is to have firm leadership now, someone that we can all look forward to in terms of your party and what exactly you want to do moving forward. And so what role is he playing now, looking at some of the concerns that have come up in the public space and looking at the internal contest coming?
At the moment, in terms of the internal contest, the flag bearer wants as much as possible to stay away from the internal contest.
Why?
He doesn't belong to any of the camps. The flag bearer is serving as a unifying factor, and because of that, in terms of the internal reorganization by way of elections, the flag bearer has indicated his resolve to remain neutral and stay out of those particular internal contests, so that whoever wins and comes, the flag bearer will be able to work with that particular person. So in terms of this internal organization, there will be committees that will be working on the election processes, and the National Council will be giving the guidelines on how these elections are going to be done. Even though he's a member of the National Council, but he has assured every member of the party that he's going to make sure that he will stay out and the elections should be transparent, the election should be open to everybody, and elections should provide the best people who will be able to lead, and whilst he's the flag bearer to annex power for the new patriotic party in 2028.
And one of the biggest challenges you face as a political party is galvanizing your base, especially looking at the humiliating defeat you experienced. It shows that clearly your base is not pleased with the performance of the party. And so even as we're looking at the internal contest, how do you plan to ensure that the base is on board?
Yes, the base of every institution is the strength. So we know upon losing the elections, we set up the Professor Michael Quay's committee. They went round, they gathered a lot of information, they listened to the people. The base said a lot. This particular report came before the National Council of the party. We interrogated the matter, we segregated the matter, the issues from that particular report, and we started working on them. One of the key issues was for us to look at this particular polling station. The way we are doing the polling station elections today is not how it's been done yesterday, because we've never had a clear album for the polling station elections. It is when you have to do the elections, then members who are around will go and vote for those who are contesting. In these particular circumstances, the General Secretary has indicated that we need to have an album, which album should be updated every 6 months per the constitution of the party. As a result of that, he put together a committee that brought the guidelines for the elections, the one you have just shown on the screen. We've never had a very detailed guideline like that. So this guideline has detailed how we are going to do and how membership should be registered. So members are going to be registered, and then elections are conducted fairly, so that people, those who will win, those who will lose will also lose. And that is what is going to give the grassroots the opportunity to contribute, the opportunity to participate, the opportunity to fight, the opportunity to work for the party. So that when you lose and it is fair, you are okay. When you win and it is fair, you will be able to bring everybody on board. So the grassroots is the key. Again, this registration that we are also doing, we are taking a lot of data of the grassroots. We are taking that data because we need to understand the perspective of the grassroots. And again, after the elections, we have also done some number of things that has picked some information on the grassroots. They are complaining why they didn't come out to vote and why they did not participate in campaigns. All these issues have been picked, and some committees have also been put together to hit the ground and to ensure that the grassroots is able to understand the dynamics of the politics. If you look at the grassroots participation now, a lot of people are becoming very interested in the positions. And that tells you that they have now seen that the party is back on track. The party is now turning back to the youth. The party is turning back to the very things that were being pointed to them, and they are now making corrective measures on it. So there is new blood in the party. There is absolutely cohesiveness and inclusiveness within the party. And the grassroots work is not an event, it's a process. So we've started the process. We'll work continuously and to ensure that we are able to get the grassroots fully on board to ensure that all of us will inclusively go for the elections.
And then just before I get your reaction, some of the key things as a political party happening in the economy, I'd like to look at concerns and reports that you're losing affection among the Gen Zs. How do you plan to even rope them in, especially because a lot of talks about the internal discomfort and grumbling between the party members are already getting out to the social media space, and so you're losing affection among them?
Well, Steve, I've heard it. What I heard it, and I was called on your show, and in fact, I was struggling to get the direction of the research. You know, when research is conducted and you have to speak to the research, there are some variables that you need to look out for from that particular research. But what I realized is that that research was a purposive research. He used the purposive approach. He used the purposive because he was looking at certain ingredients that is not available to us. And the kind of outcomes that he got gave him that particular report that he got. But for us, at the time that he got the report, even though we didn't know the time period he took that particular data to arrive at that particular conclusion, but at that particular time that the report came out, we had a different report altogether. That was the time that we opened up for membership registration. That was the time that we opened up for the online registration. And my view on the online registration and what is happening on the ground, members who have never been members of our party before, people who have never visited us to be part of the membership of the New Patriotic Party, meetings that has been conducted and the kind of people you see who go to attend the meeting speaks differently from what the report was giving us. And at the time, I was assessing over 1 million people in the online and the registration.
I'm sure you've heard of reports of some individuals who are actually members of the NDC just registering to give you the illusion that people are interested in your party.
It's not about registering. You see, what happens is that you can't attend the meeting if you are not interested to be a member. If you are a known person and you attend the meeting, everybody will see you. If you are NDC and you also go online to register, we don't pick you as a member straightforward until you pay your dues. It is when you register, it moves you to the next combo, and that is where you have to pay your dues for it to move you to become an automatic member of the party.
So until you pay your dues, you're not a member?
No, you are not a member, because the Constitution says that a member of the party in good standing who can stand for election and can also be voted for, can vote and can be voted for, must be a member in good standing. So a member in good standing in the Constitution is defined as those who have been able to pay their dues. So if you don't pay your dues, you go to the platform.
So you can be a member, but just not in good standing?
Yes, not in good standing.
Okay.
And once you are not in good standing, we don't consider you as a member. Because when we are making our calculations, we don't consider you. So once you make the commitment to go past the registration stage and move into the payment of dues to become a member of the party in good standing, then you are considered as a member. And afterwards, with that one, when you are to contest for a position, you are given a time limitation of 2 years. You must be in the party within 2 years before you can contest for any election within the party. At the polling station level, it is only 1 year. So you can't just join, or we've opened and you paid, or you've gone ahead to do all those things, then automatically you can lead within the party. No, you cannot. There are time limits, there are limitations as to how you'll be able to be admitted properly and how you'll be able to hold a position within the party. So we are very careful. The data we are getting, we are looking at the algorithms and making analysis of all the data, and we are going to speak based on.
But what influenced this? Is this because you have a flag bearer now? Is that part of the drive you're pushing just to galvanize the base?
It's because the leadership of the party, based on where we sit and what we have seen, and the drive on which we have gone through, these initiatives came from the leadership of the party. And that is why we are seeing that we need to fortify the base of the party. We need to also develop transparent albums for the party. We need to also get the right caliber of people who will lead the party, and we need to also get the right strategy to go to the elections. And that is why the leadership has put this particular through, to ensure that we are able to have an effective campaign, able to have a transparent election, and to have a leadership where a database that can continue to stay and stand the test of time will be used by successive national officers of the party.
In Parliament, your side of the House, you've been accused of being just a press conference minority. But then let me hear from the party. What's your assessment of this administration?
Which administration?
The administration we're under currently. The Mohammed administration.
Oh, okay. Firstly,
yes.
You want to know...
you're not under this administration?
No, I wanted to know, because you started with a minority.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So once you started with a minority, firstly, as we even speak, there's a conference on LGBTQ that is going on in Ghana today.
There's a conference?
Yes, there's a conference, International Conference on LGBT and Activism and Political Movement. It's happening in Ghana. If you go to international conferences in Africa, you will see it. And then Ghana is holding it. It's quiet. Everybody is quiet. Nobody knows such a
Ghana
process.
is holding it in what capacity?
Yeah,
government holding it or
yes, it's
private
government.
individuals?
It's government. It's government.
Well, this allegation we cannot.
No, it's not allegation. It's not allegation. I'm on it. Look, it's happening in China today. The same program is happening in China. The same program is happening in Salvador. It's happening in Ghana. It's happening in Australia. In Ghana? Yes.
Where exactly in Ghana?
That is on. It is on conferences in Africa.
Okay. We'll verify that. But yeah, what does that have to do with your assessment of this administration?
I am just saying, I want to begin on that note because, you know, it was one of the key issues that we discussed during the elections. And I can hear some of the ministers saying that they were doing that because they wanted power. Today, everybody is quiet. The president has come out to tell us that it is not an issue for him. And he has made it very clear. And he has said that even the withdrawal of the doctoral degree is as a result of all those things. So he prefers aid than to stay on his own promise. So everybody is seeing whatever these people has promised us has come to nothing. Look, LGBTQ, they are no more talking about it. They
but you have a member on Parliament's committee looking at this. You have Reverend Tim Forger pushing this, and we cannot actually
but he said he will sign.
We cannot confirm
the man said when he
this
comes
press conference or news conference that is ongoing, and so we'll have to verify that.
No, you will verify. I think we can,
when we do, then we can speak to it. But yeah, for now, we distance ourselves from it. But then let's make progress with your point. You are already pushing this in Parliament, or are you not? You're not confident?
Yeah, we're pushing. But the point is that what we're told, that if President Mohammed comes, for him, he will sign the bill. He comes in, he tells us different things. He ran away from it. Then the bill has been brought to Parliament. Look, it took the minority people to push further and further and further for it to be admitted. And now, nobody is talking about it. The leadership of the current government is even not interested in it. And that's why the president is saying that he has to deal with different issues and all the matters that he has to do. And the religious society, the clergy, everybody is quiet. Media, everybody is quiet.
Well, no, what do you mean we're quiet? But let's look at the impact of
this matter was very key. Then let's look at the issue of Galamsey. They have failed. They have not done anything new in terms of the fight against Galamsey. What they promised us.
They've created NIMUS.
Who are they? They are not civilians. They are military.
The Blue Water Guards.
They are military people.
The Blue Water Guards are military.
NIMUS are military people.
No, it's a coalition of different security forces coming together.
Is it a new
to
security?
Fight the counter.
Yeah, they are existing security. At the time, the same security was in the bush fighting Galamsey. It's just the change of the name. Change of name. Nothing. They have done nothing new. The new thing that they wanted to do was to do a state of emergency. They haven't done it up to today. He's the president. He wields the power.
But let's look at the economy. You would admit that the economy was doing quite well, at least during the first year of this administration. Just the impact of the Iran war that we're seeing now affecting fuel prices. Why are you laughing, though?
You are mentioning Iran war. What has Iran and Israel has to do with us? It's very far from us.
So this is payback, is it not?
No, it's not payback. It's just the reality. When the reality dawns, there should have been a national apology by the president. The president should have been giving us a national apology because Iraq and Israel is even far. Iran and Israel is farther than Ukraine. It's very far. So if you are to go by their own analysis, it should not be happening to us. You didn't listen to the ranking member on energy, who is now the energy minister, that we have enough oil. We can, if there is an increase in the world market, there will be an increase for us because we are producing oil. Why is it going up? Today we are buying diesel at 17 cedis. Today we are buying diesel at 17 cedis. But he said in Parliament that it's only an incompetent administration that will increase fuel. And he is very sure and clear in his mind that no peso will be added to fuel prices.
But global prices of fuel have gone up. It's only logical.
These people know global prices? These people, do they know global prices?
So for you, it's just the pain and hurt you felt when we came to a point where Ghanaians were complaining about the impact of fuel prices, and the NDC administration, then in opposition, came after you saying that you cannot use the Ukraine-Russia war as a backup. So this is payback for you.
It's not a pain. It's because of the deception, the lies, the hypocrisy. That is what it is. It's not a pain. because it's every Ghanaian that is going through it. They are also going through it. But the deception, the dishonesty, the lies, the distortions, all that they brought is what is keeping us where we are.
But we're all in this together. So what solutions do you have as a political party for some of the challenges we're facing right now?
The first thing that we have to know is that where we are, the biggest contributor to where we are is the NDC government.
How?
It's because they lied to us.
Okay.
They told us that they will be able to sustain, they will be able to work, they will be able to use certain policies, but they came and they could not do it.
Okay, so as a party, you must have a solution at least.
So the solution that we need to have is that there is a lot of taxes that they have put on this, the petroleum products. There is a lot of taxes. We provided a lot of money for TOR to be operational, but they took the credit.
You provided money for TOR to be operational?
Yes, it started under us. We provided.
How much?
How many money? Years? No, I can't give you the quantum of money now, but we provided that. If you want, they should publish before we got out of office the account inflows into the maintenance of TOR. You will get to understand.
The turnaround in TOR is all because of the MPP's intervention?
Yes, our very biggest intervention. How many years when they came? It was after a year. And what at TOR did they do? They came in 2025.
But if it was based on your intervention, why wasn't TOR operational all these years while you were in power?
The work of TOR to be operational was not an event. And we had to put in certain measures to get TOR back. So if you had left power and you have come in barely 6 or 7 months, which you have not been able to present anything. Remember, in the first 3 months of their government, they were working on our own policy. 3 months, we presented the budget.
But government is a continuum, so you should be happy.
So exactly, that's what I'm saying. We are not perturbed. But the point is that we must make the point very clear. Governance is continuous. We provided the fund. They have come. They've completed. They said TOR is going to be more effective, more operational. Today, how much oil is TOR giving us? What are we providing? How much are we taking from the international community? With the shocks that is coming from these international issues, how are we supporting from our local environment?
But since you left money for TOR based on your allegation, you must know how much TOR can produce in terms of capacity.
Now we are not on it. Somebody is on it. They should be telling us how much TOR is producing, because we were working on to get all the machines on board, doing all the underlying piping and all those things. They've come, they've concluded, they've completed the process, they are taking credit. No problem. It's Ghana that is going to benefit. What is the contribution of TOR now?
I want the MPP to give us at least 3 pointers on how we can deal with this energy crisis that we're facing as a country.
Yeah, we need to look at the taxing system.
Okay.
We need to look at the taxing system. And we need to also sit down as a government to look at alternative sources of making sure that we are able to get oil at its lowest cost. Because there is always a percentage of what we get from the international community or certain areas that has problems, just like is happening in Iran and Iraq. What is the percentage of fuel do we get from there? Then how do we leverage our own resources to be able to get? Then the oil that we produce from TOR, how much do we send out? How many of them, how much are we going to retain within the state of the country to be able to use? So we need to look at all those things to get these things fixed. Other than that, these people with their rhetorics, I don't think that we are going to get anywhere. So you see, energy we are failing, Galamsey we are failing.
So you mentioned
security.
2 pointers.
And economy, you are asking.
Yeah.
Have you, since throughout the era of MPP, have you heard that we have borrowed money to pay salaries? Or were unable to pay salaries at a point in time? But this government, with the kind of money that we left for them, he has come to tell us, when the truth is coming, you cannot dodge it, that they had to look for 17 million, borrow it to come and pay.
It's simply because our labor force is performing more than actually what we can handle as a country. And they made mention of it, that we've employed too many people, that we cannot even pay their salaries. And that was also accumulation of your administration.
At what point?
Employing staff that you clearly could not
if you are going to even talk of accumulation of the workforce, then it should not even be directed to us.
Okay.
At that particular time, they knew the workforce that we had, but they said that when they come, they are going to do one job, 3 people. 1, 3, 3. Meaning that the current workforce that we have, they are going to put 2 times of this current workforce, because the current workforce will be 1. Then the other 2 will come from them. So it means that they were very clear in their mind that workforce was not the problem when it comes to expenditure overflow. So they were not even looking at that particular. So job creation and the number of people working in the public sector is not a problem to them, because they were going to recruit a lot of people and put them there, because one job, 3 people have to do it. And if one person is doing one job now, it's like with 2. So they were coming to make it double of that. So workforce is not an issue. It's just that it's a failure of the system. Failure of the system, that these people have lost a lot of revenue. Revenue that they are supposed to accumulate because of their mismanagement, they have not been able to do it. Look at the gold for reserve, what we have been able to accumulate. Over 30 tons. What did they come to do? They've come to sell them at a lower cost and go to buy them at a higher cost again. What have they done? They have not been able to even put much or up to half or even quarter of what we were able to put together.
Well, you're painting a very grim picture of this administration, but to the average Ghanaian, we're seeing the price of the cedi stabilize, and we're thinking they're doing a very good job. They've also been working on ensuring that previous administration leaders who were caught doing things that were corrupt are also prosecuted. What's your assessment of the job, Ora?
Firstly, today, when we're leaving power, the highest flight fare to Tamale was 1,006. Today is 3,000 plus. 3,000 plus from here to Tamale.
What does that have to do with the administration?
You said that the cedi has been stabilized.
Yes.
If the cedi has been stabilized and the fares within the airspace is going up, does it have any correlation? It's because you have not been able to maintain your forex. The kind of fuel that they take, energy is going up, everything is going up, utility is going up.
Oh, utility came down. This month they told us they're reducing utility of water and also... Oh, I think 4.3%. I'll get the exact 4.3% for
4.3 when you have increased utility about 38%.
I have to get the exact percent.
When you have increased utility over 38%, you are telling us that you are reducing by 4%, and you want us to clap for you. Rent has not changed. Rent today, those who are charging rent in dollars, they are still charging, but people are paying more than that. School fees has not changed. School fees has increased. Nothing absolutely has changed. They are telling us that forex stay as it is. They have been able to work on the dollar, but nothing has changed. It's still the same thing. It's gone up. It's going up and up and up and up again.
Yeah, so I was just trying to get the exact figures. So PURC told us that it's taking effect, reduction of 4.8% in electricity tariffs, and also a reduction of 3.06% in water tariffs. And that has taken effect. In fact, it takes effect 1st of April.
Yeah, but the point is that this is just one of the 4.
Okay.
And one of the 4. And if you accumulate the data, the increment of electricity and water, if you accumulate, it's over 38% since they came. If they say they are going down by 4%, it's just a drop.
4.81% in electricity and 3.06% in water.
It's insignificant. It's not significant. If you come and increase my reason over 38%, and you are saying that you are reducing by 4% or 3%, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a drop in the ocean. Nothing at all. And that is the same way the worker in Ghana is suffering. You increase my salary by 5 or 10%. And then you come and take 38% or 40%.
What's your assessment of Ora?
Ora.
As a political party?
It remains a political gimmick. Nothing. Ora was just one of the avenues to get to power, just like the LGBTQ, just like the Galamsey. They were all vehicles to come to power and nothing else. They were not ready to produce any resource. Up to today, Ora has not produced anything for us. The only thing Ora has produced is political intimidation. Arresting people. Up to today, have you heard that any of those people have been convicted? They've only charged them. They are in court. Nothing In most of the cases, they're even running away from it. Look at the Edubwai one. They are running away from it.
Who's running away?
The state. Attorney General will go, no show. They go, they use their own document before them, then they run away.
So why exactly is the NPP as a political party not interested in convincing Ken Ofori-Atta to come back home and face the law if indeed he's innocent?
Ken Ofori-Atta is an adult and he's a man on his own to take his own decisions. So if he says he doesn't want to come, I think that it is within his right.
But this is a man that once held the nation's purse strings. A man you once trusted. Are you not concerned about the backlash, the talks about his office and administration?
You know, every individual has an individual liberty, and that is enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. So it is for him to appear or not to appear. And the Constitution of the Republic has also made it available for the person to appear through his lawyers or her lawyers or any other person. You can prosecute somebody in absentia. It's there in our laws. So it doesn't mean, why is it that they are so interested that he comes before them when there are other options provided by law? So you don't need to get him before. We did that to Ferdinand. She was not there. She ran away. It didn't stop us. We prosecuted her. They can go ahead.
So you want them to try him in absentia?
It's part of, it's not me, it's the law. The law says you can try him in absentia. So they should make use of the law.
But as a political party, you must be concerned, really, because this is someone you sponsored.
Our concern is not a finality. It is about the person's decision, because he's an adult, and his decision supersedes that of ours. It is not a party decision, but this is an individual decision, and it concerns him. So once he takes the decision that he's not going to come, based on what he has assessed, because this is a person who has not even come, they've gone to traumatize his family in his house, they've sent hooligans or hoodlums to go to his house and tried him in absentia because they wanted to beat him. They destroyed a lot of things, and they sell all manner of things against this man. How do you come and meet these people? If they kill you, it is you. So for me, if you ask me to advise Ken Ofori-Atta, based on what I have seen, based on what I have analyzed, I don't think these people are trusted enough for him to appear before them. He should use the other part of the law.
I see. As we wrap up the conversation, though, I'm wondering how you plan to ensure unity, especially looking at the concerns that came up after the flag bearership race. Is a party sure that you're getting in touch with the other individuals who contested to see if indeed they're on board to help the flag bearer?
Yeah, firstly, if you check the aftermath of the elections, there has not been much that has come out. You saw that all the people, they started moving to the flag bearer's house to congratulate him and to have words with him. So there have not been much, unlike the other one. The flag bearer too has also put in a program to go and visit them personally by himself, to visit all the other contenders in the race. So when he returns somewhere this month,
he's coming back this month.
He will come. Yes, he will come back this month, and he will start those particular visitations after he has been visited, and he had a lot of lengthy discussions. He has also visited the Council of Elders. He has visited the National Party. He has visited a lot of people, and now he's going to put up a program to visit the other contenders. And he did that in the last primaries. After he had won, he visited all these contenders, and he's going to do the same in these particular elections. And
will Bawumia be maintaining Napo as his vice?
It is solely his decision based on the party's constitution. Okay. He will make recommendations to the National Council, and the National Council will look at it. But I know he's a man who is very consistent because he's one of the beneficiaries of consistency. And I don't see that something naturally will change some of these particular decisions.
So we should expect that Napo
is still a very credible candidate.
Okay.
Napo is still a credible candidate. He has paid his dues. He's a very good man. He's somebody who has vision, and I don't think that he will be a bad candidate again. And so
he will be getting the backing of the party should Bawumia elect him?
If Bawumia brings it before the National Council, I personally will support him.
I see. But I'm sure you see in polls, as we wrap up the conversation, from Musa Danquah, that predicts that even if you do a lot of reorganization, you will still lose the upcoming 2028 elections because they put even the least in the NDC still leading the race?
Yeah, that is his prediction. But, you know, every poll remains a poll until the right elections has been done. So it remains a poll, and that's his opinion. I can't take it away from him. But I can tell you on authority that polls has to stand a test of time. And those particular polls that he has done, probably at the getting to 2028, he must change his stand. Look at Akotia. He made his analysis. Less than 5 hours, he came out and said that the MPP was winning. And by the time that elections were finishing, then he came out to say the NDC will win. So it happens. So polls will always remain polls until the actuals is being conducted. So maybe he will come back and change his stand, because we are very confident that Ghanaians will give us victory, and Dr. Bawumia will be the president of the Republic of Ghana.
Okay, so we're wrapping up, but I can see lots of questions coming up on social media. We cannot take all, but we appreciate your engagement. We can see the comments just rolling in from our social media handles. Let me try and pick one. This individual wants to know your reaction to concerns about sole sourcing when it comes to government contract as the MPP. What's your thoughts about it?
Yeah,
okay. I think I can take just one. Director, can I take more than one? I can take just one. Okay. I can take just one.
The government is dying on their own dagger. What they said in opposition on sole sourcing, they are doing contrary. And for me, if given the opportunity, I'm a project manager. I can speak extensively on this particular matter because of variations and what have you. But they said they are not, sole sourcing is an avenue for corruption. And they are doing it today. So it means that they are being corrupt and they are doing corrupt activities. The worst of it is that my work and understanding of business registration from when I was in NBSSI, National Board for Small Scale Industries, now Ghana Enterprise Agency, will tell you that how can you award a contract with that quantum of money to a company that has only one employee.
Oh, they came out to actually debunk that. They say they have actually more than that. They have 60 workers.
So it means that they are a vehicle for prison. How do you have 60 and on the record you have one? You don't under-declare. You don't. And the registration documents are available. You have people working at the site or you have people working for the company. These are two different things. So in terms of sole sourcing, if you listen to the NDC in opposition and now look at what they are doing today, I don't think that there will be a party called NDC. The party is now full of deception. They say different things and they do different things. If NDC man greets you good afternoon, please check whether the sun is there.
So you want the roads minister to go?
The road minister has failed. He's the same person who was talking about sole sourcing. They said sole sourcing is an avenue for corruption, and he's being corrupt.
So the MPP is pushing for him to be fired?
Because the NDC itself should be fired, not only him.
Haruna Mohammed, thank you so much for your time here on The Pulse. Today we haven't fought, so we've done well. You're still watching The Pulse. I've just been engaging the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. We'll be right back after this quick turn. Please stay with me. With us here on The Pulse to other stories now. The Minister for Transport, Joseph Bukari-Nikpe, has justified the introduction of a new airport infrastructure development levy at the Accra International Airport. Per the new charges, all domestic travelers are required to pay 100 Ghana cedis and $100 for international travels, $15 for regional travels, and $15 for those traveling within the ECOWAS sub-region. The new charges, which kicked in from Wednesday, April 1, 2026, have since met some public criticism. But addressing the issue, the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari-Nikpe, described the charges as a strategic one that will help generate revenue for a series of challenges facing the airport.
All over the sub-region, our airports are in very deplorable states. Let me tell you that from 2012, Ghana Airport Company did not make any comprehensive levies or charges to upgrade our airports. Our sewage treatment plant is 25 years old, almost full to the capacity. And we do not do something about that sewage treatment plant, one day we will see a reversal of whatever waste we put inside. And as a country that wants to be the hub to aviation, we need to address it. every day when you pass at the airport peak hours, sometimes I go there to help in the management of traffic. Our car park is too small to the point that the cars overflow to the streets and create a lot of traffic congestion. We need a new car park in the airport. Other airports, you have short stay, assuming you have a connecting flight that will take you 3-4 hours and you needed some rest. There should be some hotel facilities. So the car park will come with the hotel facilities attached to it so that it will create some comfort for our travelers. Now, the biggest one is the connecting concourse between Terminal 2 and Terminal 3. We all agree that Terminal 2 lies idle and not being used. So, Excellency, the President said, look, we have to be innovative and then get that Terminal 2 functional. So we agreed and started to rehabilitate, to remodel Terminal 2 to be able to serve both international and domestic. Now, passengers, if they are going to travel international, meaning that they have to get out either from Terminal 3, out of the airport and come in, or they have to use bus to carry or convey passengers to the Terminal 2, which doesn't fit in the design. So we are building a connecting concourse that will have other facilities like lounges and all those things to serve our passengers, so that when you are within Terminal 3 and connecting to any other country, you just walk through the connecting concourse to Terminal 2 and you are able to access the airline you want to travel with.
Well, he further announced plans to construct 3 new airports in Sunyani, Wa and Bolgatanga to boost economic activities.
It cannot be the hub to aviation when our domestic aviation is not functional. We only have Accra Airport, Kumasi, Tamale, Wa and Sunyani. The runways are too short, and so jet engines or planes cannot fly to those areas. For instance, the Sunyani Airport runs only 1.4 kilometers, which will not allow any jet engine to land there. And so we are proposing to build a new airport in Sunyani, which will now have a runway of about 2.5 kilometers that will accept both propeller engine aircraft and then the jet engines. Wa is the same way. We have to look at the Wa airport and build a new Wa airport to be able to serve the northern part of Ghana. The same way in the Upper East, Bolgatanga, we are looking at how to serve our landlocked countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. They will all want to do business with us because they rely on our ports for all their imports and exports. And so most of them want to travel by air. So we are looking at building a new airport in Bolgatanga as well. So 3 brand new airports will be built based on these levies we are going to collect. Again, we do not have what we call aprons where you park the aircrafts. The Terminal 2 is going to be remodeled into an international and domestic terminal. We need to have aprons there for planes to be able to park and then pick passengers. And again, the runway, we are already doing some extension on the runway. However, the Accra airport that I'm talking of, it needs to be financed and finished or completed quickly. That runway has not seen any rehabilitation for years today. And looking at the increased number of passengers, we need to update our facilities. We know it is not easy to accept taxes, but as a country that wants to create employment for our youth, as a country that wants to be the gateway to West Africa and Africa, we need to take certain drastic decisions to raise enough revenue and improve upon facilities within our airspace.
Joseph Bukari Nipe has also been addressing the threats by the Ghana Private Road Transport Union and other commercial transport operators to increase transport fares.
On behalf of the government, say a big thank you to all the transport unions. I am sure a lot of Ghanaians will be waiting to hear from them. Over 3 weeks today, myself, I've been engaging them. Myself and the finance minister will be engaging them, and we are all in a state of engagement. We will soon come out with our final decisions to the general public. I wouldn't want to make anything known to the public that is not yet finalized with my transport unions. And you know, we work together, and I must thank them for their cooperation so far. And I believe that at the end of the day, we'll come out with a win-win situation for us and then the transport unions and all the drivers that we have. Either through this situation that we find ourselves in, you realize that all the fuel prices were going downwards. But what is happening in Iran from America and Israel is creating these issues for us. But the unions are cooperating, we are working together, and we will come out soon with our final decisions.
Away from that, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, has called for the cancellation of the 1 cedi fuel levy amid the rising cost of fuel in the country. The association made the call during a meeting with the minority in Parliament over economic issues confronting businesses across the country. Addressing the delegation, both current and former presidents of AGI, Kofi Nsia-Poku and Dr. Humphrey Enyim Dake, says the levy must be assessed for possible removal. Listen.
The fuel price has gone up for more than 30%. Diesel is about over 16 now, 16, 17. So it is important that at this point we start talking about removal of the 1 cedi to bring our cost of operations down. At that point, we could absorb because we had to balance it with the appreciation of the cedi. But if nothing is done about it now, then we will also begin to look at our operational costs to start increasing prices, which we do not want to touch. We do not want a situation where the impact of the cedi will now be balanced by fuel prices, and therefore we come back to square one.
The intent of the 1 cedi, as you passed in Parliament, was on two fronts. One, to support fuel purchases for generation of power. Second, was to deal with the legacy debts. Am I correct? Granted that is the case. In the computation of tariffs, we know there are fuel in the formula. What sort of fuel are we using in the computation of tariffs? So what have you accumulated in the 1 cedi? What has it been used for? Have you met it? If you met it, then you can advocate for the scrapping of the 1 cedi. If you haven't, what are the timelines? Then it becomes scientific, the intent and the achievement.
While the AGI also believes the Electricity Company of Ghana must also introduce reverse metering system to absorb excess solar power generated by businesses.
This has been going on for a very long time, and ECG doesn't seem to have a solution, or they don't seem to be interested in. We are promoting solar, and when people have excess energy and they want to give back to ECG, they don't seem to have any solution. So we would like you to take it up. In most countries, they all use reverse meters. I don't understand why Ghana is adamant to the use of reverse meters, because if I have excess, I give to ECG. If I'm in need, I take from ECG. Then at the end of the month, a balance is struck, and then I pay my bill. Why is it that the government is promoting solar, but is not prepared to take back what the industry can give back to ECG to even support in their operations, so that if they have excess, they can export to earn more money for Ghana?
Well, Well, the Deputy Minority Leader, Patricia PJ, has in response hinted of plans to establish a working group to consolidate the concerns and recommendations as part of stakeholder consultations ahead of the 2028 elections.
I have listened to you and have put down the necessary recommendations that we need to take on board. What we are going to follow this particular engagement with is to come up with a working group. And that working group will be working outside the camera, where we can have a very effective engagement and come up with solutions. And then to us as a ready governance group to ensure that the mistakes that we committed, we are going to challenge ourselves to amend all those mistakes, come on board with you, and ensure that we will come back to power and begin to work well with you.
Well, away from that, pedestrians who use the Kaneshie Market Footbridge have welcomed the initiative to renovate the deteriorating bridge. In light of the recent building collapse at Newtown, the Kaneshie Footbridge, which was also flagged as a structure needing urgent renovation, has been partially closed down. The directive issued on Wednesday is aimed at protecting lives while urgent repair works begin. During an inspection on Wednesday, the mayor of Accra, Michael Alute, asked traders and commuters occupying the bridge and surrounding areas to vacate immediately to allow for renovations. My colleague Adobe Asare was there and filed this report.
Bridge, we can see that part of the bridge has been cordoned off, so it's a partial thing for now. It is here at where I'm standing, and it's been cordoned off at the opposite side as well. But one observation I've made here too is when you look at the street, you can see that the concrete median barrier has been broken into. They've created some sort of space in there. The mayor tells me that they will be using that place temporarily for pedestrians to cross. But as they have not fully cordoned off the bridge, pedestrians are still using this bridge. Now, there are no traders in sight. There are no persons with, usually you come and see on this bridge that there's certain persons with disabilities who come and beg for alms. For now, I see just one at the far end. It's a normal day here. People are still using this bridge. Apart from the parts of it that's been cordoned off, there's the other part that is freely given for people to use. And so many people are not aware of this, so they come and when they see the tapes, they just gently use the other side. Now, speaking to some traders earlier, unfortunately I'm not willing to speak on camera, but they did tell me that communication did go down well with them. They were told before this was done, and they believe it's for their own good. They believe this bridge has needed urgent attention since for a very long time now, and so it's the mayor's decision to renovate this bridge is just in the right direction. I'm going to try and engage some of the pedestrians using this stretch to pick their mind on what they think about this bridge. But one observation I made when I came here on Tuesday, which is still pertinent here, is the corroding banisters and how they are gradually detaching from the footbridge itself. I also see that the banners that were raised on the rails of the bridge as a form of advertisements for brands have all been taken off. So the bridge kind of looks empty. Apart from people walking to and fro, there really isn't anything here. All the bills and the posters have been stripped off. When people are using this bridge, you can feel it shaking. As I'm standing here with people going up and down, I feel the vibration beneath my feet. But as people are approaching, I'm going to try and engage some of them. But one more thing I can see is that the other bridge has not been touched yet. You know, there are two bridges here at Kaneshie. The other footbridge is still in use. I don't see any cordon off, and the billboards are still there. So when we engage the mayor, we could probably we'll find out why that is not the case with the other bridge. But yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. You're live on JoyNews. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Would you speak English with us?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of this bridge? You do see, I've made some observations since I came the billboards have been removed because the mayor says they're about to renovate the bridge. Is it a step in the right direction?
No, it's not good at all. I think they should do something about it.
They are about to, and I'm saying that, first of all, how often do you use this bridge?
Oh, I've been going to work here, so I pass here
every day.
Not every day, at least 5 times in a week.
5 times in a week, and you feel it's not strong? Do you feel it's not?
It's not strong.
So they're about to do something about it, and I'm asking you what you make of it. What do you think about the renovation?
It's good because it's. I think it's a death trap right now. Anything can happen. I was even thinking of it when I was coming that this thing is shaking. What if it collapses? So I never knew they were even renovating it. I was thinking of passing to the other side, but because of the cars, I don't know how to cross over. So I had to.
Well, away from that, in most places, directing insults at a chief or politician would land you in trouble. But in Techiman, it is a cherished tradition and a tool for accountability. That is the essence of the Apo Festival, one of Ghana's most anticipated cultural events, a tradition that turns critique into celebration. There's more in the following report by Anna Savit.
The Apo Festival takes its name from the root word po, to reject or cast out. And for days, the people of Techiman have been doing exactly that, casting out social evils, airing grievances and reinforcing the bonds that hold their community together. But what makes Apo stand out is the moment of symbolic insults. Poets known as Apo singers stand before chiefs and dignitaries, including the Borno East Regional Minister and other prominent figures, using carefully crafted verses to call out wrongdoing. It is a ritual that turns critique into performance, allowing the people to speak truth to power without fear. The underlying message is simple: leaders must be accountable.
Yearly issues, it will not compound your problems because we are to be it did not know the necessary obia ensure say onya chance aka asebia onu fi say eye anasa enye na nanano anasa danano me desua no be free emu it be mistakes bia wo ye so show so ye it u balance adena it helps.
The festival also serves a spiritual purpose. According to the traditional council, Apo is held annually to gain the favor of royal ancestors and ensure bumper harvest. Forukromhene and Benkromhene of the Techiman Traditional Council, Okojiaman Kesi Beseshia II, reaffirmed the commitment of Nananum to uphold tradition while adapting to the times.
Going forward, my expectation is that they may improve upon what we came to meet. Society is dynamic. Therefore, anything that is bad, looking at the circumstance in a given situation, we will have to change for the better. But we will not leave the main or the key issues out. The key issues will be there. Then, if we have to modernize them, we'll do so. Those that are not susceptible to modernization, we may have to look at it from another angle and see whether the system will allow.
However, the festivities were not without serious concerns. The chief expressed worry over encroachment of the Tano River, an issue raised by the people, and vowed that culprits would face punishment to protect the environment.
One key issue was encroachment to water bodies. For instance, they were talking about Tano. You know, water is life, and life is water. So they see that the place is now becoming contaminated to human consumption. So sometimes we bring some people here and punish for encroaching. So these are some of the things that we have been doing to rescue the situation.
The Borno East Regional Minister, on his part, praised the huge turnout and assured the commitment of government's full support, noting that festivals like Apo are vital for socio-economic development and unity.
In fact, the significance of Apo is very great. According to the explanation given by Nanano, it's clear that it doesn't entertain anything bad. You have the liberty, you have the freedom to say them without taking any action against you. So it has to do with freedom of speech.
In Techiman, The Apo Festival proves that accountability does not have to be confrontational. It can be woven into culture, celebrated, and even laughed about. And in the process, it cleanses the land, renews ancestral blessings, and reminds everyone from chiefs to politicians that leadership is a duty to the people. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Tichiman.
And just before we go, leader of the new force, Nana Kwame Bediako, has announced plans to leverage the 2 tigers in his private zoo to expand Ghana's ecosystem. He emphasized that this initiative is not just about wildlife display, but also about creating a unique environment and tourism model that can position Ghana as a leading destination in Africa.
Media and Dudona Waha almost so finding out about Kunta Nikinte. They are more or less the story and the roots of our history of 2 animals who have come from a jungle to live in the world with us. Partly, it was my decision. Some people might say it's not fair, but today I open up their home, their zoo, and how they live, and the reason why they're here. I know most of you remember point. They couldn't see his value, why he brought the cocoa. In fact, they say he stole it and brought it here. I think that
And that's how we wrap up the polls. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safo. Today we'll be bringing you our national dialogue on the no-bed syndrome. My colleague Kenneth Jesse will be hosting that at 6 p.m. on all our platforms, Joy 99.7 FM and JoyNews. So please stick and stay for that. Have a pleasant afternoon as you enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.